Hi, this is Nereida La Sirena with Celestial Soul Wellness, and today we're talking about Mercury Retrograde. Okay, first of all, I do have another video that explains all the details of what Mercury Retrograde is, and it is Mercury rules Gemini and is a co-ruler of Virgo. So we're going to see that in process. So all those with Gemini and Virgo are affected immediately, noticeably. Okay, just a real quick review is that anytime Mercury is in retrograde, usually I know it'll help if people did these videos before, right? It's a good time to back up your electronics. It really affects all kind of communication and transportation, since transportation drives the communicating person. Okay, so all your electronics, technology should be backed up. Make sure you have it saved on the card. Maybe certain things on your phone or your tablets are being saved on the device instead of the card, and then it messes up. A lot of you know that I'm a nutritionist and health coach, and this wonderful 16 ounces of mixed grapefruit and orange juice freshly squeezed. This is like candy. This is better than your lattes and stuff like that. Anyway, so what's going on is we also have the moon in Gemini. So we have what's controlling, what rules Gemini is going retrograde. And that means, you're feeling the energy is kind of, so if you kind of feel like you're doing this wobbly thing, ground yourself, eat some carrots, some potatoes, some roots, okay, that really helps grounding, especially if you're a Mercury retrograde, if you are ruled by Mercury, either Virgo or Gemini, or you have any planets, personal planets, luminaries, we'd like to call them, because it includes the asteroids, comets, and planets and the moon. Okay, so what's going on is this wonderful Mercury retrograde is going at 16 degrees Aries. So where Aries is in your chart, okay, and so look at that for those of you real quickly where Aries is. So if you're in Aries, it's in your first house, all about your appearance, how you're going to take things in. Now remember, with Mercury retrograde, it's a time of introspection, of taking things in. Only if you were born with Mercury retrograde. I mean, if you were born during Mercury retrograde, this is the time to buy all the electronics, all the technology, buy some electronic cars, and then resell them to people who are not Mercury retrograde. And for 5 weeks when Mercury goes direct, and you get to up the price. I mean, honestly. Okay, this is not the time to start any new projects. So if you are declaring a new business, this is planning, not starting. Okay, so you've already started. Now you're trying to clean the fringes and make sure they're straightened out, cross the T's, dot the I's. Okay, looking in, a good time for detoxification. Do a lot of moving forward with yourself. What is holding you back? Okay, and this is very important because sometimes we are not taking control of ourselves. We're blaming others, saying, oh, if only, if only, if only. Do you really want that if only, if only, if only feeling on your deathbed? To say that's what it is? I mean, really, really, really love yourself to the point that you're going to say, you know what? I'm in control of my life. It's not, playing the victim is not a positive attribute. Being codependent is not a positive attribute. Okay? So, being worried and constantly fearful is very much for the ignorant masses, because they are attracting that through the laws of attraction. They're manipulating and creating a mass fear, which is wonderful, because then, you have the politicians can actually say we did something during that time. Okay, so you have to be very aware with what's going on inside of you, because that is your outer world. If you don't like your outer world, that's because it's going on inside of you. What is it that's eating you up? You have aches, pains, you're feeling sluggish. What's pulling you down? How are you treating yourself? Are you treating yourself with love? With love, pure vitamins, pure nutrients, because you love every single cell and mitochondria within you, and you want to heal and rejuvenate yourself. How many people with, Aries is all about the warrior, yet how many people are always sluggish? They can't move. Oh, I would like to. They're spectators. They have a lot of remorse and regrets. But they got no gumption to do anything. Make yourself that warrior. Be that warrior. Be that warrior with yourself. Say, hey, what's the matter, you? Snap out of it, okay? I remember that movie from Moonstruck. I was going to say Moonshine, where Cher just slaps Nicolas Cage and says, snap out of it. My grandmother was good at doing that with us. So you really want to just get yourself moving. But you have to start from the inside. Do some energy healings, TFT, EFT, the healing codes, Psychic Cave. You don't know those? Then go to a master healer, okay, who can assist you with that. There's nothing wrong of showing appreciation and going to a master healer and asking help with that energy. What is wrong is going to just anybody for attention and being an energetic vampire, because then you're just trying to, you're really being like leeches and magnets when we're doing that, because we're just going towards anything. Really? You're just going to give yourself any kind of energy? Come on. Have some pride in yourself. Have some love for yourself. Okay? Really snap out of it. Think about it. Okay, do you really think that's good? That's all you're worthy of? Oh my gosh, who put that in your head? My poor child. Let's love you, caress you, and give you compassion. Maybe it was a misunderstanding or misconception, because a lot of times we perceive certain things through the way we are in our environment at that time. And being aware. So during this Mercury retrograde, it's really cleansing out that gunk, really thinking about your primary life, because the moon is in Gemini, and so it's really asking you to really, have a conversation with yourself, but it's going to be so hard, and really ask, what the hell happened? Why was I thinking all those things? As a child, we want to blame. And a lot of teenagers are very, adolescents are very blaming the parent and, well, this and that, the parent lied, because now they're getting into to a certain level where they get to use their metacognition. They're having dialogues in class, in middle school and high school, and realizing there's more than one way to perceive the world, that there is more than one reality. And they get upset because sometimes the reality they were in was not positive for them. And they're like, wow, the grass is always greener, on the other side. Okay. Or if life's a bowl of cherry, why am I in the pits? There's another book on that one. And so, really being aware. But then again, the adolescents have to remind themselves that they chose the parents. I didn't like hearing that either when I learned about that, and soul growth and evolvement. And it was like, I didn't choose this. I didn't choose, But we do. No matter how ridiculous, crazy, whatever we want to think of our parents and those who raised us, our outer world represents our inner goings on. And so during this time, you can really think about your karma. And I say that because we want to move forward. And here we're going to have to go back, regress a little within ourselves, okay? And be that warrior with ourselves. have that inner child. Tell the ego, give the ego. This is a really good time to have a conversation with the ego and say, why do you react that way? Why are you being, confrontational? Earlier, I forgot the comment. And that I said, and it had absolutely no purpose. And I laughed after I said it, going, that had made absolutely no sense, had no purpose. All it did was make me laugh and the other person laugh, since they were a very stable and grounded person, and saying, where did that come from? I go, I know, huh? Sorry about that. They're like, no, it was hilarious. I was like, yeah, but it was not exactly healer, And I mean, remember too that all of us who are shamans, healers, witches, and all that, we're human on a soul evolution, just like you are. Perhaps we might have gone through more lessons and tests and evolved in different levels than you have. That is the difference. So we are more experienced with certain tests and lessons as opposed to others, and that what makes us where we are, and understanding. So going back to, it's really taking a look of why we have, because Aries is the ego thing. Aries and Leo do rule the egos. It's so moving forward. What makes us react that way? Certain things, start writing them down when you realize that. Going, oh wait, or use your voice recorder on your phone, or your voice text. Keep a memo. Ways I react, which I'm not really logical, conducive to a harmonious situation. Or that just straight out embarrassed the heck out of me, okay? And, and really look at that and then choose which ones you're going to work on, why, and maybe some you want to keep even though it embarrasses you, because it gives humor to everybody else. So you have to really decide what it is that you're criticizing of yourself and opinionate it. And remember, anytime we opinionate on ourselves, it's out of fear, because of disapproval, because we're looking for superficial love, which really just show signs that we're really not in love with ourselves. And we don't think we're worthy or good enough or deserving, which shows that we are really ruled by our inner child and ego, even though we're adults. So we're pretending to be evolved. A lot of people think adulthood means people are evolved. No, the only thing we can show materialistically that we are adults is certain people will go through aging process because of their belief systems. Other people, but for sure our society says if you are over 18, you are financially responsible for your consequences and your actions. And so that is true, but it doesn't really mean you are an adult. I know some teenagers who work and are very responsible, okay? And I know some adults who make really ridiculous and, well, they're making choices that I would not have chosen, but for their reasoning it is, and then they regret it. Okay, so those are different things of what we use titles and words. And during with this moon in Gemini, we like to give categories. And people who do categories, they really like using words, because that way they can feel safe within their vulnerability. Go, oh, this is a teapot. If I say teapot, I am declaring this is a teapot and I know how to use it. If I say it's an electrical teapot, then I'm saying that I am now aware of how to use it. It breaks down their vulnerability, and they don't feel so fearful. And that's what a lot of people like to have names and categories. So that way they know how to maneuver. Because a lot of times if they're not aware of something, they do not know how to maneuver. They do not know how to sit back and say, I don't understand this. Can you teach me how to maneuver in this situation so I don't feel so vulnerable? Instead, they hide their ignorance, which is ridiculous because we cannot know it all. One of the nicest things about when you get your master's and you get your doctorates, you realize you know less. You know nothing. Okay? And there's like, oh, okay. So I've been able to analyze this topic to the nitty gritty. Wonderful. But I know jack baloney about cars. Like I'm hearing the neighbor going, they're fixing their car. They've been doing that, and it's raining and they're under the carport, but it's warm weather. And I'm like, well, not that warm. I do have a turtleneck. But it's just like, there's a part of me that just wants to sit and go, and watch, because I really don't know all that. To me, in my head, an engine is like a bigger mechanics of a watch. I've seen the inner workings of a watch, and that's it. And that's my ignorance, but I don't have the time at this time. And of course, then you could say, well, that's my inner reality showing on the outside. If there's a will, there's a way. And it can continue philosophically. The point is I'm not doing that right now. And so we have to see that within our own life. What are we choosing not to focus on? Even though we might have a curiosity, where could we be focusing on? During this time too, be aware that Jupiter is retrograde. So trying to really move forward is not the answer. Really jumping into yourself and doing that healing. Now, Mars rules Aries, and Mars right now is in Capricorn conjunct Saturn. So moving forward, it's really what we're doing is during this time, we're really creating some good inner roots, And that's a really good thing, because we had, a lot of opportunities of opening up, of seeing how we relate to ourselves with the North Node, having the equinox, the eclipse in Leo, and really seeing how we relate socially. So we're getting opportunities to really create those roots in Capricorn, how we see ourselves as an authority figure. What are our bases of that, of authority figures? Who are we going to listen to? Who's our daddy? Who's our mommy? Okay, no matter at what age, are we the mommy? Are we the daddy? Are we the mama? Okay, do we feel at different stages of our life we prefer to be different? Are we not ready to evolve? There are some people who've never had the opportunity to raise children that are raising children, adopting children in their late 50s, 60s, which is fine, the 70s. At least that they are aware that they are making at least a 20-year commitment to these children. Okay, because for stability, so they're not so vulnerable, because that is very important. This is also time to look at yourself and how you relate to parenthood, and how you relate to yourself, why you have chosen parenthood, why you haven't chosen parenthood. There's no right or wrong answer. And why, as potential parents, you might have done certain things, and really, forgive yourself for any of those, heal yourself for any of those. I know some people where their baby might have died within a few months of being born, or they had a miscarriage, or they chose an abortion, and they're beating themselves up for it, and without taking into taking in the fact that the child that fetus has a soul and made choices also. And you're going, well, what was the purpose of all that? To make you aware. To make you aware what it is that you're being aware of. And that's very, very important. Some people need harder lessons. Okay, I know in the past I had one lesson happening over and over and over again. And it was very frustrating, okay? And I was like, why me? you know. And then I even started creating, going, well, this and this, of course this is going to happen to me. My luck. You know, saying these expressions, we're only attracting those energies and frequencies. And then, I mean, it's the law of attraction. It has to happen. Like, well, of course I'm going to get sick because my mom is sick with this and this and this. Well, guess what? You're going to get sick. You're using the same mentality, okay, and frequency that the ones where you learned it from. Okay, you're like, well, it's the DNA. Well, we have, you know how much different things we have going on in our DNA, but we program ourselves according to what we see is comfortable, not necessarily, or I mean, what we know, not necessarily what we like, but because we haven't actually been active in finding a different choice of moving on. The Sabian symbol here is brightly clad brownies dancing in the warm dying light. So the brownies were little duendes, like fairies that helped in the, you know, that they call them brownies because they would help in the kitchen, make sure that the kids were working well, latchkey kids really, you know, had their little brownies there, and still expected for things to run smooth, you know, and made sure that that responsibility was there, calling in upon their light team, and really being aware that there are other planes and dimensions going on. Right now I want to look here, you know, oops. We got, I'm trying to see, going with the healings and illusions here. I know recently we had, there we go, Neptune. Neptune is right there in between Sappho and Amor. And right there, having the higher spiritual, being very aware. We've been having some very prolific scenes. Connecting with different dimensions in space and time, different parts of ourselves. Remember, our cells carry so much memory. Our conscious self, okay, our brain is very minimal compared to what everything else is going on. And so I know yesterday evening I was telling someone one of their past life regressions. I was seeing them, and it was interesting, and it was a beautiful story. At the end I told him, why, thank you for sharing this with me, you know. He's like, no, thank you for bringing it to light. It was such a beautiful story. Of course it had its setbacks and its karma, and this is time of being aware of that, of connecting to the higher self, higher energies, and really bringing that love within yourself, of loving all sides. One of the greatest things, you know, with Mercury Retrograde and then doing these past life regressions is that you get an opportunity to see your karma. Now remember, a lot of people was like, oh, this is just your karma. You know, it's like saying, c'est la vie. You know, it is what it is. No, 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 no. First of all, let's clarify. Karma is something we create with ourselves because we feel guilty, remorse, regret, the 5 R's, right? Unapproved of, and we're going to try and do it better next time around. Okay, and so it is not a contract that we have actually done with someone else. It is a contract, and it could be unwritten, unspoken, but it's acknowledged, okay, within ourselves, that this is what we're gonna do for whatever reason we feel that we owe either that person or our own soul, that soul there in the future, or our own soul. Okay, so remember, naming someone karma, that kind of sucks now if you think about it. You've imprisoned them. These, when we have karma, we create these situations. We have imprisoned ourselves and limited ourselves in this lifetime to focusing on those experiences, okay, as opposed to evolving. Now, no matter what, we got to evolve. That's why, those people who say, well, I got a bad deal, things are not working out as I wanted, life's too hard, I'm gonna take a shortcut out and suicide. You know, you're just gonna, it's like failing a grade. You're just gonna have to redo it in the next life. You're already here, get it over with. I don't know, I've been the type to pull the band-aid off and hurry up. If it heals it faster, add salt to the wound. If it'll heal it faster, and some lemon. If not, you know, then fine, but let's just peel off that band-aid fast, as opposed to, here, let's go a little bit and a little bit more. Oh my gosh, you could have enjoyed life and been happy already and start doing blissful, you know. Taking all that into effect is really what that Pisces is going to, that higher love. With that, you have Apollo right there with Chiron, you know, conjunct there, and Amor also. So that higher love of healing, that wounded healer in you, that victim, oh, that woe is me, is very important during these next weeks, okay? And also being aware of not abusing yourself. We have Venus right there, so there could be issues of love going on. It's conjunct this Mercury retrograde, okay? Yet it's going to be, so you got Venus and you got Mercury here, and Mercury's going to go slowly this way all the way to Reiki, okay? Because Reiki's at 6 degrees Aries. So you're going to go away from love, outside love, okay? Partnership love. And go more internally towards yourself, of healing yourself, because Reiki's at 6 degrees Aries. And then you have the sun is going to be moving forward during the process. And then you got Chiron with Apollo and Amor there, who's hanging closely with Neptune. So there's another healing, that victimhood. Really, really good time to do some energy healing classes, either with me or another master healer. Okay, and really take some time. Learn. It's good to get some energy from master healers, but it's also good to learn self-healing energy during this time, because you can't always be available, or the people be available for you. Okay, so let's see here. What else we got going on? Well, just to let you know, Mercury goes all the way to 4 degrees later on, Aries, in the next few weeks. And usually it's 3 weeks and then another week of stabilizing the retrograde. And so what we have here is two lovers are strolling through a secluded walk, and that's a Sabian symbol. So it's a time, you know, of where the intimacy, but, you know, again, before, stop with this soulmate thing. No, it's not a time of soulmates, okay? That's a bunch of baloney. Your soulmate is you. And, okay, you are your soulmate. You are just choosing not to bring it out, okay? It is a time to really, really take walks with yourself. Take walks and be outside, be with nature. When was the last time you ran naked in the rain under a full moonlight? Okay, like, I'm gonna get sick. Oh, take some vitamin C, zinc, and selenium, you'll be fine. Shot of apple cider vinegar. Okay, have some fun with yourself, love yourself. Everything you're embarrassed about, love yourself more. Give yourself permission to exist, giving yourself permission to be worthy and good enough. You are. And just get over whatever it is and heal those aspects of, well, my parents, my teachers, they're humans. Really? That's like believing, you know, and putting all your faith in the Bible, which is ridiculous because it was written by man who is prone to errors, okay? Who supposedly wrote down these scriptures. How many times have you retold the story exactly? My point. Okay, and then most of the stories were written by Peter, you know, and probably these people who were, you know, not exactly the happiest with women. Okay, so and you want to base certain ideas of matrimony, you know, two lovers are strolling through a secluded walk going, oh yes, and let's base the vows on the Corinthians. Hello, it was a man writing those vows, his ideas. Jesus never was married. He never said what those vows were. Okay, so really, what is the purpose of all that? And think about it. What is the purpose that you are with yourself? And that's what's needed. Anyway, during this other things going on with Mercury retrograde, we do have understanding. Still, we have Venus that's going to conjunct, starting to slowly conjunct Uranus. So in the next few weeks, if you feel, because you're taking this time for yourself, and you see your romantic relationships or your financial relationships fall apart and they're not being patient, it's just that you don't need them in your life. It needs to be patient. They need to be patient and realize what's going on. And you have that right. If they're not being patient, they don't deserve you in the first place, okay? Nothing's life and death. Regarding that, unless you're the doctor who is going to do surgery on them, or you're the fireman who's putting out the fire, nothing needs to be life or death. Relax yourself, eat very healthily, detox during this time, rest, back up your computers and technologies. Anyway, so this is what's going on with Mercury retrograde. Let me just see if anything else is going to be going on during this Mercury retrograde before I sign off here. No. Yeah, Jupiter's still retrograde all the way till the 10th of July. But we do have that after. What happens is the 18th, April 18th, we do have, okay, so don't you love it? I have my Mercury retrograde and my other retrograde planets on two different pages. So give me a date, people. A date, 16 Aries, okay. April 15th. So then we have, right after, we have, I said Saturn going retrograde on the 18th of April. So you're going to be feeling that. So the week of, you know, the 10th, you're going to start feeling a lot of more energies, because